Anyone making a point on the internet always seems to have a microphone, so today I've got my microphone, but I don't have anywhere to put it, so I'm just gonna have to hold it and you're just gonna have to bear with me because there's probably gonna be so many sounds coming into this that you don't want to hear, but I've got a lot to say, so we've got a mic. I honestly don't know what my plan really is for this video, but earlier on this week, someone asked me on my Instagram story what the biggest lesson is that I've learned at university, and it really got me thinking because I instantly knew what my answer was, but if you'd have asked me this even a year ago, I would have said something completely different that probably wasn't true. And my response to that question was that letting go of the uni stereotype and no longer putting pressure on myself to fulfill that stereotype was the best thing that I ever did at university. And it's taken me 3 years, basically 3.5 years, to get to a point where I can open and honestly say that and not be lying to myself and not be lying to anyone else. So that is why I wanted to do this video, because it's something that I wish I had heard when I first started university. It's a talk that I wish I'd had with someone, but no one seems to talk about it, even though everyone will know what I'm on about and everyone will have experienced it in some way. I don't really want to put too many disclaimers on this video because it is my honest opinion and I really want to share that, but I do want to preface that the purpose of this video is not to shame anyone, judge anyone, offend anyone. Everything that I'm saying is based on my own personal experience and my own opinion. So I've spoken a little bit about the uni student stereotype and what I think about it and how I'm no longer subscribing to it on different platforms, but I've never sat down and properly shared all of my thoughts on it, but I do have a lot of thoughts and I did want to share them because, as I said, I don't think anyone really talks about this. It's quite taboo, it's quite controversial, and anytime I do say anything about it on social media, the comments and the reactions are always very divided because there seems to be a very clear-cut right and wrong way to do university, and people are very quick to defend what they think is the right way of doing university, which is a lot of these uni student stereotypes, and are not very open to considering that there's possibly other ways of doing it. For example, whenever I speak about this on social media, I always get comments calling me boring, saying that I'm wasting my time at uni or I'm not making the most out of my time at uni because my lifestyle doesn't fit that of a typical uni student. But that is the whole point of this video, to basically argue that there is no stereotypical student. Everyone's experience is going to be completely different, and there needs to be more of an open discussion about that because the stereotypes and expectations of uni students are often very problematic, and they really do have an impact on a lot of people's experience at uni. So far, I know I've been a bit vague about what the uni student stereotype is and the expectations, but that's because I don't really know how to put a universal definition on it. I assume, and when I've had conversations with my friends about this, most people do know what I'm on about because there's kind of typical universal associations with it, like the drinking culture, clubbing, the hookup culture, and this will be dependent on what university you go to as well. But Leeds, for example, has a real reputation to be a kind of party uni, and I think a lot of the expectations for students that come to Leeds stem from that reputation. But also for me, I really expected when I came to uni that I was going to have a huge group of friends, for example. It doesn't really matter what the exact definition of a uni student stereotype is. It's the principle of how it affects your experience. And the level to which you're affected by the stereotype is really going to differ as well. For me, it had a really big impact on the first few years at university, but for my boyfriend, for example, even though he was aware of the expectations and the stereotypes, he just did his own thing regardless. So take from this video what you will. So for me, the reason that I think I let all of these stereotypes and expectations affect me so much is because it stemmed from a desire to fit in. When I was in secondary school, when I was in sixth form, I was very studious and still am now, but I was really labelled as a studious person. I was labelled as a teacher's pet, all of those kind of connotations. And I hated that label so much because all I wanted to do was fit in. All I wanted to do was be one of the cool, popular kids, but that was just not where I was kind of placed at school. So when I came to uni, I just essentially wanted to prove to I don't even know who that I wasn't what I'd been labelled at school, and I was super cool and I was super popular, and I thought the way for me to do that was to do all of these things that I thought were the normal things to do as a student and that would help me fit in. So this video isn't coming from nowhere. I have been there, I have done that. If you think of any sort of uni student stereotype, expectation, I've probably done it to some extent. Yes, it may not be the most extreme form of it ever, but I've done it enough to know that I don't like it and it doesn't bring me happiness. And now that I've sort of come out of the other end of this culture and realised that a lot of those things are not for me whatsoever, it's so interesting to observe how people defend that culture. Because like I kind of said then, the first question that I want to ask people when they do get so defensive about the uni culture is, what are you trying to prove and to who? Because I couldn't answer that question, and I don't think a lot of other people would be able to either, because we all come to uni with these myths, these expectations, and we just go along with them without ever really questioning if it's something we particularly enjoy or why we're doing it in the first place. So that is what I'm asking you to do. Why are you doing the things that you're doing at uni? And is it just because you think you should be doing them? Or is it because it actually makes you happy and you actually enjoy them? I feel like the culture of sports societies at uni is the perfect example of what I'm trying to say here, because we've all heard these awful stories of things that happen at sports society initiations or socials, and whenever anyone questions it, I feel like people's classic justification is, oh, it's just part of the fun or something along those lines. But anyone that has gone through any of those experiences during those initiations, during those socials, genuinely look me in the eye and tell me that you enjoyed that experience and that it was just part of the fun, because I don't believe you if you took some of those things that happen at initiations, at socials, and placed them into any other context in life. They would be seen as so deeply problematic. Like, imagine if that was your recruitment process. Once again, I'd just like to circle back and tell you though that this video is not to tell you to not drink, to not go out. The purpose of this video is to ask you to take a step back and really ask yourself why you're doing the things that you're doing and if you're doing it for the right reasons. And I don't mean that in a patronizing way either. It's taken me almost 4 years to get to the point now where I can finally be honest with myself about what I do and don't enjoy at uni. And as soon as I admitted things like, I don't like heavy drinking or I don't like clubbing, it felt like a massive weight had been lifted off of my shoulders because I was no longer putting this pressure on myself to like those things. And it's also empowering because once you truly understand what you like and what you want out of the university experience, you can take control of it. You don't have to play into all of these things that you think you should be doing. Once you get to this stage though, I understand that the next question is always, what if I lose my friends though? Or what if people don't understand that? And this is the point where you've been open and honest with yourself. You need to be open and honest with those people as well. If they are your true friends and you sit them down and you tell them how you're feeling about this, they will understand, and your friendship shouldn't change because true friendships are not built by drinking and going clubbing. True friendships are built because you genuinely care about one another and want the best for one another. And yes, you might have to come up with other ways to spend time with one another and do things other than drinking and going clubbing, for example, but that shouldn't be a problem if you really want to make the friendship work. I've been living with some of my housemates now for 3 years. In my first year, my second year, I drank with them, I went clubbing with them. Now I don't do that as much, but I wouldn't say that the friendship has changed, just the way that we spend time with one another has slightly changed. And if people aren't understanding and you do lose friends, then as hard as that is in the moment, in the long term, you're going to be so much better off without those people, and you will find people that you have more in common with. So there we have it. I don't feel like I've really come to any sort of conclusion with this video, but I just wanted to get my thoughts out there. And I suppose the overarching message of what I'm trying to say is that the uni stereotypes are a load of rubbish, and whether you're starting university soon or you're currently at university, or if you're in your final year and you're only just realizing all of this, you have the power to make of your university experience what you will. You are in control, and just because there are certain stereotypes and expectations that exist doesn't mean you have to play into them. And if you don't, you're still going to fit in, you're still going to find friends, and they're going to be true friends, and you're really going to have the best experience because you're prioritizing what makes you happy and not what you just think you should be doing or what other people are doing, or you know what I mean. So if you enjoyed this ramble on the internet, then make sure to subscribe. Usually my content is a lot more structured than this. I weekly vlog my experience of final year every single week, and also let me know if you'd like more content like this because I have a lot more thoughts where these ones came from. Bye!